Woo! All right, Joel, and we are live. Finally, good evening, LinkedIn. Dave Wilson, the Ring of Hire Show. It's good to be back here with a good friend. I haven't seen you in God, what's it been since summer, Joel?
Yeah, since summertime, the last time we did something.
Last time we did something, and we're on a show tonight. We're going to be talking about a great subject. Well, everybody knows what it is, Veterans Day. So we have a lot to discuss because Joel's a veteran. I'm a veteran. We're all into it here, and we'll be right back after this. I haven't heard that thing in so long. It's been
a while.
Yeah, I'm like, damn. No, it's good to be back. I told you I'm going to be starting the shows, but it's fall time. So with the fall and the winter, I got a lot of great guests coming up, and including yourself. And what a great day today to talk about the veterans.
Yeah, it's always great. It's a good thing to talk about. It needs to be brought up. A lot of stuff needs to be talked about, particularly of the stuff that happened in the past with other veterans from previous wars and to current, we're not in current wars, but, the previous newer wars that we've just had.
Well, why don't you tell me about yourself, Joel? Everybody doesn't know that where you've been, what you've done. I know the Marines, so I'm going to give it. All right.
So, for all my brothers, there you go. I got my Marine Corps pint going on. So I did 17 years in the Marine Corps. I enlisted in 1998 because I knew my grades were not going to get me into college.
Yeah.
And I did the first couple of years was at Camp Lejeune. I was in North Carolina. Then I had orders out to Iwakuni, Japan. Not Okinawa, Japan, but actually Iwakuni. And so that's what they consider the main island. And from there, I didn't have anywhere else to go. I knew I wanted to get out of the Marine Corps because I didn't know any better. And I was in, and obviously you can't do job interviews back in the United States when you're in Japan. So I decided to re-enlist for the first time. And after that, I started understanding the benefits that you get from the military. Not only that for retirement, but just in general, it's job security and everything. And I just continued to keep re-enlisting. Yeah, there was a few bonuses that kind of came my way, and there was some that I didn't get any bonuses.
Right. But and we're definitely going to go over some of the, I got these down, pros and cons. Like you said, you got 17 years, and then you retired after 17, right?
Correct. Yeah. During the Obama administration, he was doing what they call the sequestration. In every branch, he did it differently. In the Marine Corps, it was called TERRA, which means temporary early retirement authorization.
Right.
Under that, if you were a staff platoon officer, had been passed over more than twice, and in between 15 and 20 years, and you want to retire early, put in your paperwork. If your MOS doesn't need you, you can retire early. And I was on my third back-to-back deployment, and I was like, I've been passed over before because it's just the nature of the beast. A lot of people get passed over. So I was like, here's my paperwork, and they approved it. And I was like, all right, cool, I'm out.
Yeah, I spent 4 years Army. I know I'm going to say United States Army. Now you can tell. I'm sure you can tell.
Hey, you're not ready. You ain't ready for the Marines yet. I get it.
I'm not ready yet, right? Geez, my whole brothers, everybody's Air Force, Navy, Marines, and all that. And I spent two and a half years Fort Knox. I graduated basic there, stayed there, was a drill instructor and basic training, and did all the tanks. I was in tanks, so you can tell I didn't score very good, Joel.
That ASVAB wasn't where it needed to be, right?
Well, for the young ones out there now that doesn't understand what the ASVAB is, when you go down and you see that great recruiter and you take that test, back then they didn't tell you to study for it. All right. You couldn't study. You didn't have anything online. So it was either get a book or something, right? So when they came and they sat me down, the guy's like, Dave, all right, let's see what you're qualified for. He goes, infantry. Damn it. All right. I was like, infantry. And then he says tanks. And for some reason, it came right out. And right away, I was like, I'd rather stay warm and just not walk. So I went into tanks. So
I'm staying warm by sleeping under a diesel engine.
Oh my God. I learned how to just blow things up and watch everybody else be cold when the heater wasn't working, in the tanks. Then I spent a year and a half over in Seoul, over in South Korea. So that was, you know what, when you talk about traveling, especially I was only 18, and I went in at 17 and I turned, 2 months before I turned 18. Now, back then you could go in, I didn't graduate. So I made it all the way up to high school right about 2 months before. And I was like, all right, I go into the school. I did turn 18. I went to the school. I said, listen, I'm gonna quit to the principal. And she's like, David, you're never gonna be anything if you quit high school. And I said, well, I signed up for the military. So back then you could go into the Army. I went back in, but then I had to graduate. I had to go to school to get my high school diploma. I don't know if they do that now, because I don't think you can get in the military without a high school diploma now or GED. Can you?
Well, okay, so that's where it gets a little funky. When I went in '98, I had a friend of mine following right behind me, and he dropped out of high school. He was thinking about dropping out of high school.
He dropped out?
Well, he was thinking of it.
Okay.
And my recruiter convinced him. He goes, hey, here you go. You got a high school diploma. You see this? He goes, there you go. And he wrote GED on a piece of toilet paper and goes, that's what that's worth for you.
Oh,
just trying to convince him to stick with it.
Yeah, I believe you have to have it. And I know in the Army you do now.
Yeah. On the flip side, when everything was ramping up, when we were doing OEF, when all those operations were going on, you had to be of a certain age. You had to have some kind of equivalent of a high school diploma, but they were kind of like, hey, if you already got these qualifications, you're in. There's always a waiver for everything. And what I mean by waiver is there's always like a loop around for something. It just depends on how well the person pushes it forward to higher ups and how they make it sound.
I was going to say, when you get, for those who don't know, you do a certain time. And my goal was I was going to re-up, and I really did. I wanted to go from Korea. I wanted to go to Germany. And that would have been the E5, but then they were going to transfer me over to Fort Polk or Fort in Georgia, Fort Benning. And I was
Benning's nice. You'd have a blast in Benning.
No, everybody was saying, you don't want to go there. It's so hot. Everything's so hot. It's hot as hell. And I'm like, all right. So then I got out. And that's where I always look back. And, you took the GI Bill, right?
I'm using it right now, actually.
Okay. You want to explain? For me, I had a choice. You could go to college right afterwards. Again, that wasn't going to happen because I was not, I really build myself up, right? But I wasn't fit for the college. So I went into the workforce, but you did do that. And you want to explain what that is?
Yeah, well, I'm currently in it. And one of the biggest things that I have, everybody has regrets in their lives.
Right.
And a lot of people look back like I don't have regrets in life. My biggest thing was I didn't do college during the college age when I came out. When I first joined back in '98, college was an option. It wasn't really looked upon favorably. I don't say it wasn't looked upon favorably, but it was looked upon like you could go to this, but it's going to take away from all this other time that you need to do for training and stuff. And the other thing to go along with that is when I went in '98, it was not where it's at now.
Right.
I was Montgomery GI Bill. When I was in 98, 99, there was not 100% tuition assistance. And when I say tuition assistance, means everything is paid for. The only thing that you have to pay for is books. And books are, they're $50 for a book, but it's not that expensive. I'm sorry, my cat is on me. I apologize. But if you really wanted to make it work, you'd make it work, particularly being like an E3 or E4. And I should have done that, and I didn't. I did do a few classes while I was in using 100% tuition when I was on deployments because our mission would get canked. We had nothing to do. Instead of watching movies, playing video games all the time, I would actually go to college. But now since I'm out, to cover what you're asking, because everybody who's in that little bubble, but who came in before 9/11 and got out after 9/11, it's marred. Like it's a little little muddy. It
Right.
is you can either claim the GI Bill or you can claim the post 9/11 bill. I myself claimed the post 9/11 bill. I'm
Right.
sorry, she is being very annoying tonight. I apologize. She's not normally like this. But I claimed the post 9/11 9/11 bill. Reason being is because I get a lot of benefits coming back to me for that. They give me the E5 cost of living for the area that I live in.
Okay.
And they cover the entire bill for whatever the school is. Now there is a certain amount that you can go to. Like it's not like unlimited. Like I can't just apply for Harvard and they're going to cover that.
So it's a certain amount of money that they gave you to do that?
There's a certain amount of money that's allocated to you per quarter, per year, per 4 years. And it all comes down. And if you look at the numbers and if you're smart and you look at the numbers, what it covers down is actually a yearly thing. And then you break down what your school's going to charge you tuition rate, and the GI Bill, the guys at the VA, they actually, despite the reputation of the VA, they are really, really good at helping you out.
Especially compared to years and years, we take we look at when we were in, but I was in 40 some years ago, and you look back, like when I was making I have my pay stubs and I saved them. So now that's just me 40 some years ago. I was making for an E1 $389 a month. That's what I made. That was my paycheck. For 1 month, I got $389. I got out making $686 as an E4. And that was only, 4 years ago. Can you imagine what it was even, back then, even further? And that's why we take for granted, because now the pay rates, they're really, for a young person, wow. And we'll go over that too, but you have to admit,
they're a lot higher.
The military pay rate is phenomenal for a young person, that's thinking about going in.
And that's the best thing. I'm so jealous about these. I'll call them kids because they're way younger than us and everything. These new kids are coming into the military and everything. They have so many more options that are available to them. One of the things that I wanted to do, and let me rephrase that. We all had the same options.
Right.
It's just the amount of paperwork that we had to cover down on and what we had to do in order to get those options to work for us was so much heavier than what it is now. Now it's a click of a button. One of the things I wanted to do when I was really young is I wanted to start investments. I wanted to get investments going, particularly when I was at E1 and E2. You don't have any bills. You're living in the barracks. You don't have any bills except for that 20% car interest rate on that Mustang you bought coming out of boot camp.
My insurance was $32 for an MG.
Right?
Fort Knox, $32 a month. That was it.
But the thing that I want to say is we didn't have that option. Like now I can go, I bank with Navy Fed, love Navy Fed. They're a phenomenal group.
Right.
Particularly if you're in the military. I can go to them. I can start an IRA just like that. I can open up a CD just like that. I can do mutual funds just like
but
that.
a lot of the younger, this is what I'm going to say. That's one of the pros for a young person. Like today, I had an 18-year-old boy, a gentleman, I should say boy, but child, I say.
Kid.
And he told me he needed a job until he's going in the Navy. And I was like, oh, wow. When are you going in? And he said September of next year. He's all done. He's already signed up. But I didn't realize they got him that early. They give you training and everything before you even go in, that he's going to be going in. I'll tell you, it was so interesting because you look at that. I'm like, wow. I said, do you realize what you're doing, how that's going to change your life? I said, when I look at him, I'm like, wow, not just no bills, but a career that he doesn't know he's going to study for his AFAB. I told him my story. I said, make sure you study, but you can go in and get such a good training. I said, can you swim? He says, no. I said, why'd you pick the Navy? Why'd you pick the Navy? You don't swim. But he said, I told him about joining a YMCA or something. I said, have you thought about that? He goes, no. I said, I think you should. I think before you go in the Navy. But my point to him was I saw that young kid like that thinking, wow, these next four, when he goes in, his life's going to change for the good too. I mean, he's not going to have no stress with bills, money. He's not going to have enough money. I mean, what they're paying, we'll go over that. Benefits, all your health care, you're not going to have to worry about nothing.
Yep.
all your food being single. You're not going to have to worry about nothing. You're going to
Yep.
eat 3 to 4 meals a day, and probably in the Navy they feed you more than that on those ships, But those, what a great thing to talk to somebody just that young, because I'm thinking, wow, that was me, man. I was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
you
And
know.
that's what I come down to is like they have it so much easier nowadays.
Yep.
Everything's just like a click and a push, and they have it. It's so much easier and everything. But at the same time, they're all still going through the same stuff that we did back in the day. They're all the same
Right.
jokes are still out there.
Yep.
Hey, I need you to go talk to Chief. Yeah, tell me we need a prick E7 down here on the flight deck.
Yep. Hey, I got a trivia thing for you.
Okay.
All right. So Veterans Day started out in World War One.
Mm-hmm.
And I was reading, and you think you know everything, and you don't. You got to just really thank God for Google and all that. Do you realize they started Veterans Day on the 11th day of World War One when it stopped, the 11th month, and the 11th hour? That's why it's always on November 11th.
Wow, that's interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah, World War One, the 11th day, 11th month, and the 11th hour when it stops. So that's why it's always the date now. It's always November 11th, and that's the reason why. I got to be honest, I didn't know it.
I thought they were intimidated by the Marine Corps birthday, but that's okay. I understand.
Because a lot of the younger generation get it confused with Memorial Day, and what the difference is. I still feel though with me though, whenever I get it, things are changing now. Everybody thanks you for being a veteran, and that's a great thing compared to years ago. But I still always think about the people that sacrificed their lives.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, we served, we did great. Thank you. Yes, but I still feel Veterans Day is for God, Memorial Day. It's for all of them, the ones that died. And you're like, man, these families and everything are missing people from the wars. Even the stuff goes on now.
Yeah.
You can't thank them enough. I mean, because let's face it, you join the military now. That's the big thing right now. Well, look what everything that we're involved with.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that. I really do. But I still believe that we have to recruit and you have to build the military like we always have.
We got to have somebody to defend our lands.
Yeah. And I don't see many recruiters, military recruiters. I guess, I'm sure they're going to the schools now. They still do that, I'm sure. Reach out to them. But I don't know. The true veterans are the ones that are lost. That's what, like I said, Memorial Day. But Veterans Day it's really different now. I mean, you figure great holiday. Banks are closed. Hey, no post office, right? That's a holiday there. You were off today. At my son's school, they always have a thing where you can go in the cafeteria. They sing songs to everybody sitting up on the stage. They give you certificates. And I think it's good for the younger kids in school to understand what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's great. You definitely need to understand what the differences between Memorial and Veterans Day. Veterans Day, and I think because of us, what we have dealt with in our past, it's easier for us to think of our friends and our fallen comrades who have happened because we get that celebration. Hey, this is celebrating you. You survived. You did what you did. But then for us, the psychology of it, you go back to thinking, yeah, hey, I lost my friends and stuff, but I attribute that to. For me personally, I still focus back onto Memorial Weekend, and that's when I really devote myself to my friends who have passed away.
Right.
In the past, I lost a couple of friends for different reasons, different combat operations. I've dealt with that, and I was like Memorial Weekend. That's when it's a long weekend. I raise a glass for them, like, hey guys. But now for Veterans Day. As I didn't have an opportunity to tell you before, I'll tell you afterwards. But the weekend I got together with a lot of my Marine friends, and we celebrated the Marine Corps birthday, Veterans Day. We raised a pint. We raised a pint for ourselves,
right?
To celebrate us making it through.
To do that, and that's what's great. I finally ran into my best friend. What was it? 3 years ago. I couldn't find him. I got the picture up here of Roche, best friend, and couldn't find him with Facebook and everything like that. And I tried for years. I was like, well. I gave up. I saw this one girl in the area that I thought about. He kept saying near, what do you call it, near New York. I knew it was New York. I figured you have to be around that area. I finally found a girl. I said, hey, I was emailing everybody and messaging them on Facebook. Hey, anybody know Roche? And then when she came back, said that was my cousin. That was so cool after 30 some years to when I look at the pictures up here, and I'm like, oh my God, it was nice. We're gonna get together soon, and he sounded like the day when we left. I was like, but
That's
like
awesome.
you said, you build that camaraderie. You know, I really
Camaraderie.
believe, that goes a long way. And what we talked about for anybody, the young ones, I always say young, but because I don't even know what age are
Yeah.
you allowed to go up to the military. Isn't it still in the 20s, late 30s?
Well,
No,
it
early
depends on the
30s.
branch. The branch differs.
Right.
When I got out of the Marine Corps, it was the highest age you can come in. It was 35, I believe.
Yeah, I think it was in the 30s. I don't know about now, though. I'm not sure.
No, it depends on the needs too. The needs can reduce that age.
Right.
You know, like, hey, if we're not looking for a lot of people right now, we're not in a wartime scenario, we're not trying to boost up our numbers.
Right.
We're like 18 to 28, you know, they can easily do that. I'm not saying that they are, but that's one of the options that they have.
Yeah, and I like that. And then I always like, when I tell people about the reserves and the National Guard. I mean, I was in the National Guard when I got out. So I spent the 4 years there, and I did 3 years in the Guards, and then I got out. So that was nice too, because you got a bonus when I got out of the military. Just to join, back then, I got a $5,000 bonus. That was a lot of money.
Yeah.
Back then, for you, that was a lot. And I'm not sure, again, I'm sure they still do the bonuses, but I got the bonus. And it's only 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks out of the summer still. That hasn't changed.
Nope.
I say nowadays you probably get deployed more than you would maybe it was years ago right now, because everything that goes on, it seems like they send the National Guard with all these things that go on different states with hurricanes, and they're really maxed out. But I always tell the young people about that. You get to go get that basic training, AIT, everything together, come back out 1 weekend a month. You still get a lot of benefits for being in the Guards or reserves. There's a lot. You get great pay, your work, you're guaranteed your job. You can't, and that's a great thing. Even if we get somebody at our work that's been a National Guard, we promote that. We're like, oh, hell yeah. Just give us the dates. Give us the dates that you're going to be leaving. That's it. My company, when I was in the Guards, paid me the difference that I didn't make. So
that's nice.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it depends on the companies naturally, but
It does.
You're losing a lot of money if you do that. But I always suggest about going into the reserves and National Guard. And a lot of people don't know that. So we talked about educational benefits, the GI Bill and the tuition, and opportunities for skill development certifications while you're in the military. My God, I'm sure that's so unlimited right now.
So what happened for me right before I retired, I don't even know what you have to do is when you are in that year that you're about to get out, be it 3 years, 8 years, 12 years, 14 years, whatever your contract is, 15 years, 5 years, whatever that contract is, that last year that you're spending in the military that you absolutely 100% know you're going to be getting out.
Right.
For me, my papers were signed, authorization, I'm retiring. If you did 4 years and you're like, okay, I know I'm getting out, this is my EAS date.
Yeah.
You have to spend that year focusing on yourself and getting out. Now, I was fortunate enough to, I don't even know how I did it. I paid attention. They in every branch, they have a separate, well, I don't know about Air Force. I'm not going to speak about Air Force because it's basically civilians anyways.
All right, let's see if you don't. Let's
hate on me as much as you want. But
did you know what is the newest one added real quick?
Space Force.
Space Force. You know what? And I was reading that. I got to learn more about it.
I don't even know what it is, honestly. I haven't got into that.
No, and that's what I was like, all right, let's see. We got the Coast Guards, we got the Marines, Navy, Air Force, Army, and then I was like, Space Force. I'm like, wow, that sounds freaking cool. It doesn't matter what they do is I'm sure it's some space, but go figure that. But no, that's like you said, getting out was a big decision.
Well, every branch, I don't know about the Space Force, but I know every branch has what they call a transition in. It's all called different stuff. And the Marine Corps is called TRS, transition in.
Right.
I don't remember what the acronym was 100%, but basically they give you classes and train you to be a civilian again.
Yep.
And in each one of these classes, they teach you how to write a resume. They give you different stuff, and then they tell you about other classes that are happening that are free for veterans. And it
So
might not
that's
be.
awesome.
Sometimes there was a discount. Sometimes they're only $20. Sometimes they're $30.
Right.
If you could put $100 in, and these classes are like 3 to 4 weeks long. I ended up taking a class that was free from Craven County Community College, which is
Right.
in Havelock by Cherry Point. I went to my TRS class in Camp Lejeune, and they told me about this class. It was a 6-week course. I got OSHA 30 certified. I
Right.
got my green belt in Lean Six Sigma. I was able to get my forklift certification through this class.
Jeez, right through there.
Everything.
I
It was
can't
all
imagine
free. Yeah, it was all free. You could carry on. And civilians love, like civilian employees love this stuff. You have a green belt in Lean Six Sigma. Oh my God, they suck you up in a heartbeat.
Right through it. And that's
Yeah.
why I look at that as what a benefit that is, and everything that you don't know about. Because I'm telling you, man, I got like 30 pages here. There is a lot. When you join, like a lot of people don't realize the American Legions, you know, to join their benefits and what you can get for being a Legion person just to join, you know, from the military. There's a lot. Sons of American Legion.
Mhm.
So that means there's organizations to where if your great grandfather served and passed in a war, you can join on that. A lot of people don't look at some of, like I was watching tonight, Tunnels of Towers, right? They put out over 8,000 homeless vets this year and built homes this year, and they're building now villages. There's 4 villages.
Villages.
Yeah,
That's
villages
awesome.
they call them. And
It's
they're
so awesome. We're not building homes. We're building villages. That's awesome.
villages. The Tunnel of Towers. They have villages now, and they're going to house all military veterans free. They're not going to have to pay anything. They look like a hotel. You got your room, a bedroom, and they showed the bathroom. It's nothing super huge, but they're building these for everybody that's homeless, and they get education. They get all those benefits that you just talked about, and through Tunnels of Towers. And Frank, he was just talking about it, you know, for the $11 a month that they always say. Man, it's a great commercial, isn't it? It's almost a commercial here. We should be getting something for
That
this,
is
right?
commercial. That's
But
wow.
no, I mean, it made you think of that. I was like, wow, these people. And he showed the book, and I was like, look at all these people that they have done, and that's just awesome. We got hey, Travis. I haven't seen it. Travis was a veteran.
Oh wow, Travis. Hey.
Yeah, I haven't seen him in a long time. How you doing, sir? I know he's a. I know you're a veteran, Travis.
When leverage proper.
Let's go on my leverage properly. 140 education easy. See?
Yeah, there you go.
I mean,
There's so much stuff out there. What it is, and this is what's really bad. As veterans, a lot of us have a mindset, and I had that mindset too. Is like, why isn't this just handed to me? You actually have to go in. You have to do the work. All right, just like when we went through boot camp, or we went through MCT, SOI, whatever it is that you go through, you come out of it. You have to put in the work. You have to figure out what it is as you're getting out. There's a lot of stuff out there. And one of the other things that I like to use too is I tell people like, oh yeah, I'm going to go, I'm going to use my GI Bill to get college, but they're really not paying me. Well, I don't know. Are you really doing everything? Because if you talk to your college, they're not going to offer it to you, but you have to ask. You have the Pell Grant.
Right.
To use.
There's so many organizations.
And that alone gives you, I mean, depending on where you're at and everything, you can have upwards of the $6,000 every 6 months given to you from a federal grant. And grants, just so you know, so everybody knows that scholarships, you have to pay back. Grants, you don't pay back.
Okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know all that.
Free. Yeah, scholarships you eventually, and some scholarships you don't have to pay back, but it's very rare. But in most scholarships, you have to do something in order to earn this. When you get grants, that's free.
That's
you don't
free.
Pay it back. There's no obligation to it, except to pass
and-
class. That's all you got to do. Pass your class. That's all you got to do.
They have a great thing here about how they were saying transferable skills we've talked about numerous times.
Oh, yes. We talked about that a lot.
When I looked at that 18-year-old, I was thinking, wow, 4 years from now, I told him when you get out, I said, employers will like that. They'll look at the background, especially when you're first coming out of the military. I'll grab somebody up right away like that. Fresh out of the military. Oh, hell yeah. I had the biggest OCD issue when I got out because I was like, oh my God, I wanted everything so clean. And I got back into the civilian life and I was like, whoa, this is, I was in the paper industry. I started cleaning up while the machine was running good. The guy's in the union. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just cleaning up. You don't do that. I was like, okay. But I just liked everything clean. That was just me, when you first get out of there. Travis says here, get your percent, wipes your federal debit versus VRE, and before GI Bill, also free, PhD. Yep. There's a
Yeah.
lot of stuff.
Yeah. So what he's talking about is a lot of stuff that we discussed before is the percentage you get from the VA from your injuries and everything that comes
Right.
back. And one of the groups that I joined, and I don't mean to be advocating or anything like that, but
Right.
I do this for them, the DAV, Disabled American Veterans. And what they do is they go to bat for you for the VA and everything.
Right. Oh, they
And
take care of it for you.
yeah, they have their
Wow.
own lawyers and everything. It's completely nonprofit and everything. I myself, they helped me out with my percentage. They got it raised a little bit and everything, which is great for me. And what I did is I joined them. I joined their group just so they can get some money for helping me out. You know,
Right.
they help me increase my pay. I'm going to do something to help them out. You know, does that make sense? It's like, hey,
Right.
you did this for me for free. I'm going to donate something to you to help me out. And but you got that. That's a free group that helps out veterans to no end. You got the VFWs that are out there too to help you out and everything. And then once you get different percentages in different states, you start getting
Right.
some better offerings as well, depending on your injuries and everything. Now, if you were just like a straight, a part of my experience, you're a pogue staying in S1 just doing paperwork, your percentage isn't going to be that high compared to somebody.
Right. So it's
like,
all based on your rank, then the same thing, right?
No, not rank. No, it depends on your injuries and everything.
Oh, for
Rank,
that, okay. All right,
yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Okay,
for
good.
the VA percentage and
VA.
everything. Yeah, your percentage wipes your federal debt and everything. Like if you owe any kind of taxes or anything, depending on your percentage, they can be completely wiped clear after.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know anything. We didn't have that back then. I just looked back and I was like, we didn't have that. We didn't have that.
Yeah.
I was trying to come up with some things, some of the pros and cons. One of the biggest things about the military that people don't want to do is they go through a lot is naturally when you leave, when you're deployed. Look at yourself being deployed. Even when I look at going to Korea, when you're in another country for a long time, boy, I'll tell you what, you miss the United States. I don't care what they say.
Yeah.
No matter what, I was in Japan and all that, and I looked and I don't know why we complain so much, because until you've been over there somewhere else, you don't know. And when you come back, woo.
It's so funny because you and I have talked off screen on this, and my son is a huge geographical person and everything. I got him a globe for Christmas one year. It just made his day. And so then one day, him and I were sitting down, and he goes, "Dad, how many different countries have you been to?
Right.
How many places have you gone?" And I was like, "I don't know, son. Let's pull it up." And we started going through it. It turns out I have been throughout my years just in the Marine Corps. I've been to 22 different countries around the world.
That's something, and it's free. That's what I like to tell people. You get
no, hold on. It's free. Hold on. There is a stipulation to that. Sometimes it requires a helmet and Kevlar and your rifle, but you can go to some really great countries. I've been to a lot of great countries. Japan was a wonderful country to go to visit. Thailand was actually a really fun place. Philippines, Australia, Korea. I had a blast in those countries. And even going to Afghanistan, I actually learned a lot. Pakistan, I learned a lot. I learned about the culture, and it was really fun. And we
lost a lot of money in Japan the first night. We went to a hotel, right? We didn't know the difference of the money. You're sitting there. So something, I forget, it was something about food or something like that. We paid this person. The guy, he grabs it from our hands. He's taking it, and he left. Well, the person with the hotel made the guy came up and gave us some of the money back because he was taking a lot of the different money. We didn't know. You're trying to figure out what the hell it was. I can't remember. It was like, oh my God.
That's so funny.
Where can you get experiences like that? Now, Korea, I will say I learned how to drink very well. Woo! Oh my God. Besides great training and, it was a real deal there. You were like, oh my God. Then up on the DMZ and you're staying up there for 45 days in your tank, and then people don't realize how it's nice to have a shower. Oh my God. Just to take a shower after so many days, you're like, oh, that's freaking good. But Dalton Shoulders says hi. And then Travis said, here, I'll let you read that. You will know that one better.
Yeah. The VA, DOD, DOE has set aside contracts as sole sourcing for veteran-owned small business. Yes. And service disabled veteran businesses direct award. No competitive bid. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you want to open up your own business and everything, which I've been.
Well, they'll help. They help towards that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many. You get grants, you get different leverages, you get different tax breaks, particularly for disabled veteran-owned businesses. Oh my God, it just explodes for you.
Really?
And
Wow,
and
I didn't
just
know
being
that.
a veteran-owned small business, you're so many different things you can do. And the problem is what I talked about earlier. Not a lot of people know this. You have to do
No,
the research to this. Like nobody's going to hand it to you. For some reason, it's like some big hidden secret. They're like,
right.
"Oh yeah, you go open up your own business. All right, that's great, man. Oh, you're a veteran. Okay, that's cool. Yeah." And then you go to them like, "Hey, man, I really want to know about how being a veteran helps me in business." Oh, here's the information for you. So you have
Okay,
to
and they do
ask
it.
your questions when you go to do that. So what Travis is saying is like perfect. You have to go out and you have to ask. You have to know about these things, which sucks. It
Right.
does suck. But
Is it local? Is it like low? Is it something that they can go
yeah,
online? Veterans can go online.
yes, yes,
As easy
absolutely.
as
You can
that,
go
right?
on. Yeah, you can go online. You can Google it. There's so many different things, but it also it pertains not only on the federal level but also state level as well.
Right.
State, county, township levels as well. Sometimes the township will just waive everything for you. Sometimes the county will waive everything for you. And sometimes, maybe depending on what state you're in, will waive everything for you. But then it might be different in different areas. It all
Right.
depends. I can't honestly say like it's this across the board because it's not.
Right.
Everything changes.
Just for that, and that's even awesome. Then he
Yeah.
had said, got one more thing here. Let's say yes, they have databases where Fed contracts, and that's a pretty cool thing. And
Yeah.
I'm glad this is where I learn a lot of stuff because when I hear this, at least I can go to somebody and say, hey, did you know? Did you know? And I think, like you said, it comes back down to education. Hey, before we get going here soon, this is funny. I wanted to talk to you about pay, what everybody gets paid now. What you know this. So if somebody's out there wanting to go in the Army, let's just say in the Army, right? E1. An E1 now makes roughly $1,917 a month.
Wow.
E2 is $2,149, and as it goes up to, believe this or not, I couldn't believe so. An E9, E7 or above E9, you're talking over 6,000 over 10 years for an E9, 6,000 a month, probably a little bit more. But the officers, that amount from Warrant Officer 1, 2, 3, 4 goes from 3,500 something a month up to 5,000. I mean, even the higher officers, Jesus. But people don't realize that that's the hour. I mean, that's the salary. But then when you're married, you're getting extra income.
Yep.
When you live off
So
post, right?
hold on. It's a double-edged sword.
All right.
It is a double-edged sword because when you get married, you do get more money.
Okay.
Get a lot more money. But David, trust me, you've been in that situation. You watch those young kids get married, and you're like, don't do it for the money.
They do it. They do it for the money. They think it's a lot extra. And then they get food allowance, right?
Yes.
You're getting food allowance on top of that, especially with kids. Listen, you can be married in the military. That's the only thing I can say that it was hard for back then. I had a couple girlfriends, but that was about it because you really, I don't know, you were never, I don't know, you had no car before I got one. You had no car. You didn't have Uber. You didn't have all that stuff. So you either walked and you really did nothing but work, and work, and you really didn't go anywhere except for when we were overseas. But a lot of people, there is other income that the families, and that's got to be difficult too, I'm sure, to be in a military family.
I mean, it is really hard. It's hard on the wives. It's hard on everybody else. It's something that really can affect an entire family with somebody being deployed. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I retired. I was gone for when I got back from my last deployment, my son was turning 5. So he was 60 months old. Out of those 60 months of just his life. Now my daughter was older. Just of his life, I was gone for 40 hours, 60 months of his life.
See, that's what I mean. It's a lot. I got one more thing from Travis, and then we'll go in here. Let's see. I'm gonna let you read this stuff because you know my
about BAH, basic allowance for housing. BAS, basic allowance. I forgot the acronym for it. I apologize. And full family health insurance. Indirect value puts them at about 38 an hour, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that makes sense. That's really what you're getting after being married and having a family.
Having a family, so that's and everything's covered there. Now, even when you get out, when you get out now, I know can't the veterans go to their own doctors a little bit now? Isn't there some of that passed in different states?
No, okay, so this is where it gets a little tricky, right? So say you did 4 years, you did 8 years, and you get out, right?
Right.
You didn't full retire. At least I'm going off the rules of what happened when I retired.
Right.
You don't have full benefits. If you had TRICARE, I'm not sure if you can carry it over. I don't think you were able to carry it over. For
Right.
my family, when I retired, I was able to keep TRICARE with me, TRICARE Prime, and take that with me as I retired from my family, again at the rate that TRICARE gives to you, which is
Right.
not a lot. Let me try.
Right.
But on the flip side, you're limited to who you can go to, who's TRICARE approved and everything.
Okay. That's
So
what
I was able to carry that. Now, when you're in the military and everything, your family still has to use TRICARE, and they can use off-base doctors and everything, depending on the situation. But then it also comes down to what will TRICARE cover.
See, back then, I mean, I always say back then, but it was just, I don't know. I don't remember. I always naturally, I went to a dentist and, oh my God, they took my wisdom teeth out. And I swear to God, I don't think he ever did it before, but that's a long story. But you get all your medical, I didn't have to worry about anything. You get everything was covered. I don't recall the families back then. I had a couple friends that were married and they lived off a post and everything like that. Let's see here. We'll go one more thing here. Let's see. Travis says only if you don't have enough providers. Oh, I'm sorry. He went back. He said subsidies, Joel.
Yeah.
The subsidies on that part. Only if you don't have enough providers at the VA here in California, I'm seen by a private doctor. That's when President Trump, I shouldn't even bring that up when it first, because he did something for the veterans in his first term. He was trying for the medical to where you can go to your own family doctor. Like I said,
Yes.
I'm not sure.
He was trying to privatize what TRICARE and the VA was.
Ideally, you would have to travel, right? You got to travel
Yeah.
to where you're talking about, right?
So here's what happened with that. So beforehand, when you were having an issue with, like, say you have some really weird medical thing happening, you would have to see what TRICARE would cover, where they would send you, and they would send you to ungodly places and everything, and they would not cover it. They wouldn't do any of that. What Trump's policies, one of his things is he was trying to privatize what the VA and TRICARE was.
Right.
And if anybody is anything of smartness, you would refer back to what the VA did for our veterans. We'll start with 2015 and back.
Right.
2015 and back, the VA had a really, really, really bad reputation.
Right.
For example, like say you and I were sick, right? We got the coughs and everything. We'd call into the VA, or something happened, like we really need to get our shoulder looked at. We don't think it's broke, not enough warrant to the ER, but I really need to get this looked at eventually. It would take them 6 to 9 months, maybe a year and a half before they would look at you.
Really?
That.
Wow.
And what Trump did back in his first year term was he subsidized that. And he subsidized that, and it would become more privatized. And the people who would be doing that, it kind of opened up TRICARE to have, hey, we have more people we can actually talk to, and you can actually go out there. The VA be like, yo, you can actually see this vendor, and he can talk to you within like the next month, or like next week we got a schedule for you. And since that actually happened, my appointments with the VA actually increased dramatically with what I had. Instead of like, hey, we'll see you in 6 months. They're like, hey, we can see you next week. Let's go. I'm like,
wow, that's
okay. Fast, right? Let's do this. All right. I'm being seen like immediately. And it actually, it bolstered that up quite a bit.
Well, I think, like you said, what I learned tonight is just ask. You got to really, after everything I've seen here and what you have talked about, there's a lot to look into. And that's where I like how somebody can help you. If you can go out to a local chapter, listen, there's a lot of local people, groups, associations, like we have Battleborn in our area. I mean, they provide everything. You can go down to that organization, and I've had Chris on the show, and they teach you everything that you need. But again, like you said, they don't ask. You don't know.
Yeah. So to let our viewers know who are on here, and obviously like Travis knows quite a bit. He put a lot of good info for us.
Yep.
If you guys ever have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I don't do a service. I don't provide. Like, oh yeah, pay me afterwards. I don't do any of that. If you need help, if you're dealing with anything that's happening with the VA, you don't think you're getting the right say, you're having issues with TRICARE or something like that, or getting out, reach out to me. It might take me a little bit to respond. David knows he's responded to me like 3 days, get back to him. But if you have any issues, obviously reach out.
I'll be the same way. Yep.
Ask them their stories, what they've gone through. We're welcome to help out. There's a ton of benefits for veterans. There's just so our viewers know too, I had one of my best sergeants I ever had working for me.
Right.
I never thought he's the best go-getter. He committed suicide back in early September.
Right.
And
Jesus.
yeah, September 10th of all days. Right before 9/11. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me?
Right.
And he wasn't fitting in. And if any of our veterans are out there, you need help or anything, reach out to your friends.
Anybody.
It's 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. We're drinking. We're in a different world. I get it. Reach out.
Right. No, and I think that's great on everybody, and to ask. That's what I've learned tonight. Just ask, and you'll get. And then one thing more, Travis said, "Whoa,
woo!
All right,
whoa, we got novel going on here."
Boy, Travis,
got novel.
Go ahead. You want to read that one, Joel? And then we're gonna.
Oh my God, Jesus! All right. Act as a civilian transition counselor specialized in veteran resources and career development. I am a U.S. military veteran entering the civilian workforce and want to leverage my veteran status. Provide detailed advice on accessing job placement programs, veteran-owned business certifications, grants, and educational benefits. Additionally, outline key industries or companies that act. So he worded that exactly how all of our veterans need to word it. That's your AI prompt welcome.
Yeah, no, AI prompt.
Travis, thank you so much. That is phenomenal. But yes, that is exactly what our veterans need to do. And unfortunately, I'm with the Yuk crayon eaters, so our language does not pertain to that level.
No,
but for any of our viewers that are watching this, please copy and paste that and use that for your help.
Right there, copy and paste that baby right there, right, and then they're good to go. So, all right, sir, Travis, thanks a lot for. Geez, it was great to have somebody else on, both of you. I mean, you're both knowledgeable. You got so many years in there. And again, just ask. That's my new slogan now. Just get a shirt for the VA. Just ask.
It really, it's kind of funny. I have many funny stories, but it's one of the things I use when I go to like NASCAR. I'm a huge NASCAR fan, but grew up in the South and everything, NASCAR fan. One of the things that I've learned from going to those events is you just keep walking in until they tell you to stop.
That's it.
And then when they tell you to stop, you're like, "Oh, yeah, I can't go any further." And I ended up in VIP areas. I touched a trophy. I did all sorts of stuff. It's been wild. But the same thing applies for when you're dealing with the VA. You just keep going in. You keep asking. It's like, "Hey, can I get this? Hey, can I get this? Hey, what do I need to do this? I feel like I should be this." And they're normal human beings. They're regular people like us. They're doing their job.
Right.
They may do their job. They may love their job. Hopefully you get the better or the two, but they'll answer your questions. So that is their job to do, is answer your questions.
Answer your questions. Yeah, that's it. So
remember, like, hey, what do I need to do this? I feel like I rate this.
I love it. Well, I didn't get to all my trees. I swear
that always happens with us. Why does that happen? I'm sorry. Do I steal the show? I don't know.
Look at that. I mean, I'm like, what?
We got to do this again. We'll do this next week.
Yeah, I'm going to have to save these things like that. But thanks for coming on tonight, Joel, and appreciate it as always. And we're going to be doing a lot of great shows, I'm sure, this year. The Marines. All right, I like the Army. You like the lights on it? I got 17 lights on this thing.
17 lights.
Everywhere. They're all over there, but I love the flag the most.
There you go.
I told my son, if anything ever happens, you got to look behind, open that up. And I got a surprise for him back there. I said, so there's a book. He doesn't know, but there's a certain book in there, and it's behind the flag. So if anything ever happens, he knows to open that up. So hopefully not for another 25, 30 years. We'll see. So, all right, sir. Thank you. My voice is shot. Thank you so much. And I'll talk to you right after this.
All right, man.